Stronger Marriage Podcast with Trey and Lee. On this podcast, you'll hear real topics about real life. They cover everything from married sex to raising kids to loving your spouse so much that you're willing to forgive them for occasionally being the most annoying person in the world. Trey and Lee have raised 4 boys, been married over 30 years, and somehow still really like each other. And now, live from the metropolis of Childress, Texas, a place so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Here are your hosts for the Stronger Marriage Podcast, Trey and Lee Morgan.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, folks. Welcome. How are you today? We're glad you joined us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, it's been a good week, hasn't it?
It's Wednesday afternoon.
It's Wednesday afternoon.
We're having coffee. We should have called our podcast Coffee Time with Trey and Lee.
We should have.
That's kind of, we always are having coffee.
Usually
it seems
are.
like when we do these. It's good for us, and we enjoy that. So, and we're glad you joined us. Last week's podcast was, off the charts in the way of people who listened. We obviously hit a nerve or a spot that's a little touchy with folks, because when you
friendships of the opposite sex.
Yeah, when you talk about things that people go, ooh, I need to hear that. You have a lot of people listening, and we had a lot of folks listening last week.
So if you missed that, you might want to tune into that when you get done with this.
Back up and give it a listen. So we are glad you're here, though. We're talking today about how to connect with your spouse emotionally. And just to how to have a connection, because connections are important. And so we're excited about today's podcast and talking about some things that we're gonna deal with. And do we have any announcements? What we got going on?
Well, we have a workshop coming up this weekend. We're headed to Brentwood, Tennessee. Don't know if it's full. Is registration full? If anybody, like last minute,
I
if you
think
want
it's full. Yeah, we're filled up. But
after that, we are headed to. Oh goodness, I don't even. Pryor, Oklahoma.
Pryor, yes.
The first weekend of May.
Yes, and I think I've learned how to say this. You folks listening, tell me. We're going to LJ.
Yes.
LJ,
Georgia.
And we asked last week how do you say that, and we had some folks that helped us on that. We think we
were
got
saying it a little bit wrong.
That's right. So we're sorry about that, but we're excited to be coming. And then we've got Alaska on the list, and then we have a colossal announcement.
Oh my goodness! So
next
excited.
week.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
We're gonna make it next week.
I think we can.
Okay.
Oh, it's killing us because
excited.
we want to tell everybody we're going to do something with some of you guys that we have been wanting to do for a long time, and it's going to happen next year in 2022.
The first part of next year.
Yes.
And we're partnering with another couple who do marriage workshops.
Yes, and we're going to do something special, and there's going to be some folks that are going to come with us, and man, I guess I'm giving too much away.
Lots of clues
I want to tell you.
Can you read between the lines?
Oh my goodness!
Next week
wait.
We'll have all the details.
Next week, that is right. So we're excited about that.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Rachel Hansen.
Okay.
And I hope I said that right. And she lives. We've been visiting with her a little bit this week on Instagram. She lives in Canada, and she doesn't just live in Canada. She lives like it's like North Pole Canada. I Googled it and pulled it up on my maps, and Lee and I looked at it, and it's like outrageously north.
It was like as far northeast
as
you could get.
It's the top of the globe, and I was just like, holy smokes, that is so far away from Texas, from everything.
Sure.
It's so far away from everything. And when I looked, I thought, oh, that's kind of in the Alaska world. We're going to be in Alaska. I'll look and see how far she is away. It was like a 28-hour drive.
Still from where we're going to be
in Alaska to where she is in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, but she listens to our podcast every week, and I just thought, how cool is this? She's off in a part of the world that she probably feels like, man, he might even know this place exists. Well, I didn't. But anyway, we're glad she joins us, and I wanted to give her a shout out, which is pretty cool.
Yes, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But we're talking how to connect emotionally with your spouse. We're going to give some tips. We're going to give some a little bit of homework. and we're going to post some stuff on our site, our podcast site, where you can see some of the stuff,
some links at the bottom
and stuff that are going to help.
Yes.
But emotional connection is important. In fact, without emotional connection, you're just kind of living as roommates, which is no fun. That's not why God created marriage. He created marriage so we could have some connection. And somebody, and I don't know who it was, once said emotional intimacy could be defined as allowing yourself to connect more deeply with your spouse through actions that express feelings, vulnerabilities, and trust. It is just having a connection. It is just something special there, and we have got to do as married people, as husbands and wives on both sides, husbands and wives, do a good job connecting emotionally with our spouse. And we're going to talk about some of those things. There's a lot of things that disconnect us.
So let's talk about just briefly some of the things that disconnect us. So that you can, think, oh, I need to maybe just be aware of that. And then we'll start telling you how you can build more connection. So some things that disconnect you in marriage are your busy schedules, man. Having a calendar that is just jam-packed full of activities
it's a killer.
Is a killer, especially if they're activities where you don't get to be together, like you'd like to be. Career changes, separations like deployments, and we know for some of you that cannot be helped, but you just have to work a little harder at the connection part of it because you're physically disconnected.
Some people work jobs away from their spouse. They have long distance relationships.
Yes, have to drive distances to work. Some people work different shifts, night shifts. Those can create disconnections. Your kids can disconnect you. Health issues can be a big problem there. Work deadlines, unexpected life and family events. Just sometimes the unexpected can disconnect you.
Yeah. Anything that takes your eyes, your vision, and your focus off of your relationship for any length of time isn't good. And I know we've got to work and we've got to raise children and we have got to do all those necessities in life, but we have got to be intentional about building emotional connections with our spouse. And it is so important. We cannot just do life as roommates. Nobody wants to do that. Mm-hmm. We want to do life as soulmates. And so we actually have 5 simple things we're going to share with you today that we think will help you to connect with your spouse. And if, of course, both of you can do this, it's going to be really important. You're going to need, if you can listen to this with your spouse, it'd be great. Or maybe you can take notes and say, here's 5 things we can do to help get our spark back where it needs to be. But we want to share 5 thoughts today with you to help kind of reconnect you emotionally.
Mm-hmm. So you meant to kick us off with the first one?
Yeah, go.
All right. Build your friendship.
And we talk about this a lot. In fact, we did a podcast a couple months ago about friendship and why it's so important for us to have a friendship with our spouse and our spouse our best friend and common interests, and that is so important. That episode is up. You can back up and listen to it sometime, but you need to catch that because building a friendship is important.
Yeah, just doing things together. I mean, that's what friends do. They spend time together. They do things that they both like to do. They have those common interests, and I mean, man, you've got, it's just a must to have common interests in a marriage to build emotional intimacy.
We struggled this in our early days of marriage.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't go into marriage like newlyweds or anything like didn't know each other. We dated for 4 years before we got married. So we knew each other, but we still didn't have just a lot of common interests. And so it took us, I think, we didn't realize the value of common interests.
Exactly.
As a young couple, we were just kind of like, well, we'll live on love.
We're just going to do life together.
Yeah. And we realized, hey, we got to figure out some common interests. And we took some quizzes, did some tests. We found some common interests and things we like to do. As newlyweds, we played a lot of games, a lot of games on the computer together.
Yes.
We did watch movies together because
Jeopardy. We played lots of
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy
A lot of Jeopardy
on
together
computer.
on a computer back in the old days when,
that was fun.
That was fun. But
we read a book called His Needs, Her Needs, And in that book, and we're going to put the link at the bottom of the page so you can find it if this is something that you need to do that will help you. And I promise you it will be. But it is His Needs, Her Needs by Dr. Willard Harley. We've mentioned that before.
The back of it, isn't it? In the back that it's got a...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the book that we read, but it actually was included in the book, this quiz that we took, but you can do it online now. See, things have changed since we read the book. You can just go straight.
Online is free.
And you don't even have to buy the book. You can just go online to marriagebuilders.com and you search for recreational enjoyment inventory. Okay, so we're going to put that link in there, but it gives you 122 activities, a list of 122 activities, and you go through there and you rank them. Like, it may be, I can't remember if it's 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, like your 5 would be, I'm really interested in this. 1 would be, nah, I'm not interested in that at all. And you just rank each and every one of those. And then there's even room at the bottom for you to write down some that they didn't think of, that you think, hey, this is something we like to do or that I like to do. And then your spouse goes through and does the same thing. And then you look at them and you see which ones that you both ranked really high. And I remember there were things on there that we thought, wow, that's something we need to try. We've never done that before. And that when we both put that would be something that we think we would like to try that would be fun. So, yeah, if this is something that you think would benefit your marriage, that you just really don't have a lot of common interests, then I urge you to take this little quiz.
There you go.
Yeah.
And find some common interests. It's been said before, I don't know who originated it, but it is true. Most couples who feel like they've fallen out of love actually haven't fallen out of love, they've fallen out of friendship. Because you fall in love with your friend, and that friendship is what you built at the early stages of your marriage. And then you go 2 different directions in life, and before you know it, you don't have that friendship and you don't have that emotional connection.
That's right. And, just the more you do together, the more things you have in common that you enjoy doing together,
And to
builds
talk about
that friendship, and yes, improves your conversation. It gives you things to talk about, which, let's go ahead and just talk about that next one right there.
Do we want to jump on number 2?
Out of order. Let's get out of order because
let's
we're
do it.
talking about
so
conversation.
Build a friendship. And second is connect intellectually, meaning you got to talk. You fell in love because you talked, and you got to continue to talk once you get married. And sometimes you may find yourself wanting to talk about the kids, and you may have to talk about work, and you may have to talk about things around the house. And yes, those are things that need to be covered, but you need to talk about things other than just those things as well. And maybe you need some help with some things, some date night questions, but you've got to talk. You've got to talk. And we get stuck a lot of times traveling in a car together for hours, sometimes 8-10 hours a weekend, and that may be one way for a workshop. And we have worked hard to come up with conversation things, and we have asked each other about elementary school and did you get in trouble?
It's usually when you're getting sleepy and you're like, you're going to have to talk to me.
You better talk to me because I can't drive.
So it's like, let's pull out all these random questions that we can think of to ask each other that we might not know, but it's good stuff.
It is.
It's good stuff.
And as a married couple, you can ask those questions and things that just kind of connect you, reconnect you emotionally to ask questions. Talk about back when you dated. What is one of your favorite memories you had back when you were dating, or your first date? Ask your spouse what they remember about that first date, which ours was long enough ago. My goodness, 30-something, 6 years ago or something. I remember the movie we went to, and I remember ordering French fries, and you didn't want any, and you ate most of mine, which is typical of most wives. You want French fries? No, I don't want any French fries.
No, I was embarrassed, and I was trying.
You didn't want to eat in front of me and all that kind of stuff.
All that stuff on the first date.
But I don't remember a whole lot about it. I really don't. But I mean, talk about those things. Things you did. What dates do you remember? What do you remember going to do? Where do you remember going out to eat? What are some of the favorite things you did while you were dating? Those are just great memories that reconnect you with your spouse.
Yeah. So you've got a pretty good list here of about, I don't know, I'm just kind of glancing. It looks like there's at least 20 maybe 20 to 25 questions that you're going to put
I'll put these
the
on
end
the
of the
thing,
podcast.
and there's some of these like, what is your favorite feature of me? I mean, these are good. These are restaurant questions. Things along those lines when you're out running around.
Yeah.
Which of your parents are you most like? That would be a great one. I'd love to ask sometime. And maybe if you want to get dangerous and get yourself in trouble, maybe you need to ask your spouse, which parent do you think I'm most like? Because which of the kids are most like you? What's your best physical feature? And you can be romantic with this.
Yes.
You can be a little bit spicy with this. You can say, hey, what is it that you like me to do sexually or in bed, or what is one of the favorite sexual memories you have? You're married people.
That's
you
right.
can talk about this
Yeah.
stuff. It's legal.
Exactly. So you don't have to memorize these. I mean, we're
That's
throwing
right.
a lot of these questions out there, but like I said, we're going to put them on here. You can take a screenshot, save it in your phone, and then
So quick question.
Yeah.
Kissing or hugging? What do you like most?
hugging.
Do you really? I
Yes.
didn't know.
Yes.
Okay. See, I learned something new, and I
Right
just thought
here.
I knew everything.
You thought you already knew.
Well, I just didn't know, but I just
it's not something we've ever asked, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
But see, there's so many good questions on here that is just pretty good. I'm sitting here just kind of reading through these, and I think, oh, that's a really good question. I'm gonna save some of these for the next time we go out on a date.
The next time you're falling asleep in the car.
Your favorite special occasion that you ever did for me, or vice versa. Meaning, what's a special occasion that you planned or did that really you look back on and go, wow, that was incredible. Like my 39th birthday.
Yes, we have some good ones. We've got our 20th where we took a trip to Boston.
Yeah, there's
and,
just some
and it
things
was
that-
all just dealt with baseball. That really surprised you when I said, hey, do you want to go watch some baseball?
Yeah. What was your favorite class in high school?
My favorite class in high school?
English.
Probably so, but I remember specifically a world history class, probably my sophomore year, world history. I just had a phenomenal teacher, and her lectures went by. She'd lecture for probably 30, 45 minutes, and the class
She was just good.
it just zipped by because she was good, and she didn't have to use, she just stood up there and talked, and she was just, man, she was into it and didn't use a note one, and she made it interesting.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun.
See, these are all questions on here you can ask, and just to kind of reconnect on some stuff.
Some
that
good
are
stuff.
Really good. And we'll add a bunch in here. But you have got to be friends. You've got to connect intellectually. You've got to talk. You fell in love because you talked, and honestly, you will remain in love for the same reason.
Yeah.
You've got to continue
That's right.
to talk.
So building your friendship is going to spark those conversations and common interests to help you to connect intellectually. Keep
We
that
drive down the
conversation
road
going.
a lot of times, and we may spend an hour talking baseball. Baseball players, professional baseball, and teams, and who's batting where, and what pitcher did well, and we both love baseball, and that is something we connect with. And I love baseball conversations.
That's right. So it's so essential that you talk.
And you have common.
Yes.
So give us another one.
Okay,
number
so
3.
give your partner daily affirmations and compliments.
Yeah, give your spouse
Every day. You should find something.
exactly that you can give some praise to. That will help. Because personally, I like to hang out with people who are going to compliment me or praise me.
That's right. Well, it's a big need of yours. It really is at the top of your list.
And I like that, but it is going to be easy to connect with somebody who does those sort of things if you're getting that over criticism.
Exactly. I like this right here. Appreciate more than you evaluate.
Ooh,
So
what does
that's
that mean?
that's a
Tell me
big
what
one
that
for
means.
me because I'm a thinker.
You're an
I'm an
evaluator?
evaluator. And so that's a big one for me. I have to work on that, but that's a good one. Just you always have to pick things apart or figure out what's the underlying meaning of everything. Just appreciate your partner.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And tell 'em.
One of the big compliments we get actually both of our books, but recently in our last book, Wisdom for Your Marriage, is kind of a journal book that husbands and wives can do together, or you can do it by yourself. But there is a section in there, actually there's a couple of sections in there where you write your spouse a note on the homework of something they appreciate about you, just a sweet note. And then there's also another section of, hey, here's 5 things, write 5 things that you appreciate about your spouse. And we had a lady that contacted us and said, that is my favorite page in your book because I have been waiting so long for my husband to tell me that he appreciated
He just
things.
doesn't do that very often.
And it doesn't come easy to him.
Yes.
And he wrote out some stuff that he appreciated about her, and she was like, I took a picture with my phone, a screenshot, and that is my favorite part of the book because it connected me to him again.
Yeah. So that's big. If you're not just a natural, encourager or whatever, work on that, because your spouse is very likely to need to hear that from you. Even if you think, oh, they already know that they're a great mom or that they're a great cook, you tell them anyway. Just tell them.
That's exactly right.
Because they need to hear it. So
let's do number 4.
yes.
Now, we have connected through friendship. We have connected through conversation. We're going to connect through praise and compliments. Let's connect number 4. How?
Sexually.
And this is important because that's how God created sex. One of the reasons.
That's right. It was for intimacy, for that,
to connect and reconnect a couple. 2 people become one flesh. And sometimes, honestly, don't feel very close to your spouse. When's the last time y'all were intimate? Because that may have a lot to do with it. That intimacy God put in your marriage, that sexual intimacy, was to not just connect you, but to reconnect you with your spouse. And there is something about sex that reconnects you and says, this is my husband and this is my wife. This is not just the person that I'm living with.
Man, and it took us years, I think, before we realized that concept right there. That if we go, sometimes a little dry spell and just let life and whatever busyness get in the way, and we just, kind of find ourselves getting on each other's nerves, and I just don't really like him right now, and the last thing that's on my mind is being intimate, but then we think, it's just been too long, and so
intimacy reconnects.
It does. It reconnects you, and it's like,
like
I like
washes,
him again.
it like washes everything off and goes, hey, this is my husband.
Yeah.
And we're the same. If you're listening to this and you're in the medical field, we talk about this a lot in our workshop. But we've been created, specifically women, but men as well, have been created with oxytocin, and that is a hormone that goes into your bloodstream at certain times. God put it there to do certain things. And what it does, like when a woman has a baby, God dumps tons, has your body just dump tons of oxytocin in there.
Yeah, to bond.
To bond and connect with that baby, to say, that's my baby, I claim that baby. When a mama breastfeeds, that same oxytocin flushes through there. And then when a couple have sex, oxytocin connects, and that's why you can go, I love my man and I love my wife, and and that is just, you can't undersell the importance of intimacy in marriage, sexual intimacy, and it is really important.
That's right. And like you said on the last point, we were talking about conversation and some of the questions on there. Talk about it, communicate about it. If you think it's been too long and your spouse is not showing any interest, communicate that, hey, you think we can schedule this on the calendar pretty soon?
How about tonight? How about tomorrow? Hey, I've noticed that you're a little annoyed with me today, and put out, maybe tonight's a good night.
That's very good.
And some wife's going to be going, what are you talking about? Trey and Lee said that, when you're mad at me,
this will make it better.
This will make it better. But I'm telling you.
Oddly enough,
it can reconnect you. And we're big believers in that. And it took us a long time to figure out that sex was more than for procreation and more for pleasure. For forever, it was just kind of a pleasure and a need thing, and we didn't realize how it really bonded us as a husband and wife.
That's right.
Lastly,
go
connect spiritually, and that is a huge one. And there's many things you can do to connect spiritually. That is kind of why we wrote our Wisdom for Your Marriage book through the book of Proverbs, which has couples read a chapter of Proverbs together, and then read the book together and do some discussion questions and have some prayer prompts.
Yes.
Is because a lot of couples don't know how to do.
Yeah, they just don't know where to start. And so that gives you a total guide through every step, and there's no guesswork. We just walk you through it. And so hopefully at the end of that book, you're feeling more confident with your spiritual intimacy, and you're ready to take the lead with the next.
That book will help connect.
Yes.
That book will help connect you with all of these.
It does.
We actually talk about every one of these.
We do.
That book talks about your friendship. It talks about sexual intimacy. It talks about conversation. If you can go through that book and not be connected with your spouse, then you've missed something. Something's off, because that's what that book's for, is to reconnect you. And as we talk, oftentimes we encourage you to find a place to go to church. If you can't get out and do that, watch something online. Read your Bible together. have a devotional, read a book together, a Bible book, read the book of Proverbs together, or find a devotional book that you can do together. Pray together.
Yeah, don't miss out on that.
So many good ways to reconnect. We will be putting in the comment section of this links where you can find some common interests and some questions that you can ask one another. This is good stuff.
It is.
We like this. This was good. And we appreciate the nice lady. I'm not going to call her out, but we appreciate the nice lady that on Instagram said, could you please talk about emotional intimacy? Said, my husband and I are going on dates, but we get out and we just kind of look at our phones, or we kind of...
What do we talk about?
Yeah, we talk about the kids and we talk about work, and there's just no connection. And so you're going to have to work hard to connect emotionally.
Yeah. So hopefully we've given you some good practical things you can do there to help improve your intimacy and your connection.
There you go. Next week, we're going to drop a bomb on
I'm
what
so
we're
excited.
doing. I am too.
So glad we finally get to tell.
Yep, me too. Hang out. We're glad you hung out with us today. Thank you for listening. You guys have a blessed day and a blessed week. And got anything else you want to add?
Nope. See you next week.